Something you may not know about me is that before I moved to Staffordshire 19 years ago, for a number of years I worked as a therapist. Worked isn't the right word, I was a volunteer. I trained up with my own money and then tried to help people who couldn't afford to see a professional therapist. And there's no jokes to go with that, it was all very serious stuff. I worked with abuse survivors. But I keep thinking about doing a refresher course and going back into it. But then I think about the sort of people that we see in the videos I make, and I don't think I could handle that. If someone walked into my consulting room and sat down on the first session and said, I just can't go on, life is too hard, people just won't respect my pronouns, I think I'd respond by saying, well, the window's open and we're on the 3rd floor, so the fall alone should kill you. If not, if you go in the toilets, second cubicle from the left, there's a new set up there waiting for you. 50 quid. So I'll quickly do Therapy 101. Probably the most basic type of therapy is person-centred or client-centred therapy, relying on the core conditions. Empathy, congruence, unconditional, positive regard. Empathy, as we know, is trying to understand the world as the other person understands it, to feel what they feel. Congruence is to be completely open and honest, and unconditional positive regard means that no matter what the other person has done, you can still value them as a person. But I think the congruence now, that would fuck me right over, because if, let's say, I had a client who was non-binary, if they said, oh, I'm not male or female, I'm both neither, if I were to be honest, I'd go, we both know that's bullshit. Have you got a dick? Yes or no? It's remarkably fucking simple. And that you say you don't feel male or female, how do you know what any other person actually feels like, you arrogant, self-obsessed retard? That's not the most compassionate way to get things across. But luckily for those type of people, there's a new type of therapy catering towards their needs. It's called folks therapy, like folks, but with an X instead of a KS. The X being to represent any gender, any identity, whatever. And this whole thing is about affirming people's preferred genders, identities, the things they've made up. And for me, as rusty as I am, it sounds mad, because the role of a therapist is to help the client navigate their way out of problems, including their delusions, not fucking reinforcing them.
I'm a folks therapist. Of course I want to hear about all the members of your polycule.
I'm a folks therapist. Of course your emotional support dog, cat, bird, or reptile can come to session. And of course I'm going to want to know their names and pronouns. I'm a folks therapist. Of course I know you probably did that thing that you said that you weren't going to do. And of course I support you anyway.
I'm a folks therapist. Of course I'm going to understand your meme references.
I'm a folks therapist. Of course I use they, them pronouns. I'm a folks therapist. Of course I'm neurodivergent affirming.
I'm a folks therapist. Of course you don't have to teach me about your specific identities. And of course I want to know how those identities have impacted your unique experience.
I'm a folks therapist. Of course I want to hear about your moon water and crystals. I'm a folks therapist. Of course you don't have to educate me on trans care.
I'm a folks therapist. Of course I'm going to tell you how incredibly proud I am of you.
So that was a professional therapist, someone who gets paid to help people work on their problems. The woman who looks like an effeminate 12-year-old boy is meant to be a figure of authority, because there's always a figure of authority. The relationship is never... Sorry, this is so fucking boring. I'll just get on with it. Let's break down some of they-them's points. Of course you can bring your emotional support dog, cat, bird, reptile, whatever, and I'm interested in their name and their pronouns. No way. Not a chance. We are not humanising pets. Nor are we talking about pronouns for the following reason.
Oh my god, your dog is so cute. Can I pet her?
Oh, they is actually non-binary, but you can pet they if you'd like.
Thank you.
It's really not okay to misgender dogs. They're very sensitive.
There we saw someone inventing pronouns for a dog. I can guarantee the dog doesn't care. This lunacy has not yet affected the animal kingdom. This need to anthropomorphise animals as if they have human personalities. Not only that, the client's there to work on their fucking problems, not bring a pet which they're inflicting their problems onto. Now, about 3 months ago, I was in a supermarket and I thought it was wonderful. A man walked in with a chihuahua on a lead. So the security guard stopped him and said, "Excuse me, sir, you can't bring a dog in here. It's a supermarket. We have fresh produce." To which the man with the dog lost his shit. Started screaming, "It's my emotional support dog. Get the manager. You'll never work again." To which the security guard reacted with what to me was the most British response ever. He went, "Oh, fuck off, you prick." Then we have, "Of course I know you're going to do the thing you said you weren't going to do." Well, it depends on the thing, doesn't it? Was it arson, armed robbery, sexual assault, murder? Of course, I understand your meme references. Your meme references. In a therapy situation, if the client and the counsellor can communicate through memes, I will put it to both of them that both have too much fucking time on their hands. And not only that, if your depth of despair, your misery, the depth of your human soul can be explained by a meme, your problems aren't that fucking big. Of course, I use they, them pronouns. No one who isn't insane, a colossal narcissist, or a combination of the two uses they, them pronouns. I can see how they would be useful for referrals though, from one therapist to another. If, say, I had a client who felt that maybe they were insane, I would send them to that counsellor for one session and they'd come back going, "Actually, things aren't that bad. That other person, she, he, stroke they, they're fucking mental." Of course, I'm neurodivergent affirming. Well, if the neurodivergency is, say, autism or dyslexia, that's fair enough. But if it's one of these attention-seeking fucktards on TikTok self-diagnosing with DID, if the counsellor, and I guarantee that thing we've seen, they will go along with it. If that person says they have DID, then the therapist is reinforcing it. It's utter bullshit. Or maybe they knows what they are doing. And it's about getting money from gullible or attention-seeking people. Or am I just being fucking cynical? Of course, I want to hear about your crystals and moon water. Now, I don't know what moon water is, and I could not be bothered to Google it. I'm not wasting my time or yours. But crystals, they can be used to make watches accurate, but when it comes to actual healing, they do nothing. Anyone who believes in crystal therapy should realise what they are doing is sitting in a room waving lumps of rock at themselves. The scientists and the doctors aren't thinking, "Oh, I think I found the cure for cancer. Let's wave some quartz at someone." Of course, you won't need to teach me about trans healthcare or whatever it was. I watched that clip yesterday. No, probably not. Because sadly, and this is a serious point, we know a lot of trans men are young women misdiagnosed as being trans when actually they're autistic. And statistically, if you're working exclusively with trans clients, a lot of them won't be coming back for the second session. But for me, the worst bit was the last thing, about her telling her clients she's proud of them. Sorry, that is an abuse of fucking power. There's always a differential in the power dynamic in the relationship. A counsellor should not be going, "I'm proud of you." It should be encouraging the client to feel proud of themselves. Because saying "I'm proud of you" causes a whole lot of shit in transference, which is psychodynamic, and I haven't got the time to go into that now. Now, on the off chance that anyone is still watching, I've got a couple of clips, and these illustrate why I would be very reluctant to go back into being a therapist if either of these people walked into my consulting room. This first clip I've had to mute for copyright reasons. From the person's outfit, you may be able to guess it. What I've had to mute is the theme tune to Dora the Explorer. Where to begin? What I see there is a morbidly obese man dressing up as a cartoon character aimed at young children, primarily as a role model for young girls. Now, there could be all sorts of trauma and reasons for why he's doing that, but I suspect he's basically an attention-seeking pervert with nothing better to do. Once again, thanks mate, that'll be 50 quid.
You to think about it. Why is this such a roadblock? Why have we spent an hour discussing this? Especially, you say you care about the students, but half of you are not sure what gender is. Especially transgender. I know the lawyer said transsexual earlier, that's not the correct term. It's transgender. I'm a transgender woman, my pronouns are she, her, and I will only accept those pronouns. I will not be addressed any other way. And in the workspace, I'm protected by that. Our students should be too, especially when they don't.
And this woman, I was going to say gentleman, but he'll only listen to she, her pronouns. What is it about pronouns that usually used when the other person isn't in the fucking room? I don't use pronouns, I usually ask someone's name. But, the personality's absolutely fucking toxic. He looks ridiculous with half his head shaved and that ridiculous purple haircut. Again, morbidly obese, nothing feminine about him, and I'm sure there are underlying issues, but I couldn't take him seriously. If he walked into my consulting room, sorry to say this, I would burst out laughing. That's the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe if you haven't already, and as ever, thanks for watching. If you're new to this channel, you may not know that before I moved to Staffordshire, I used to be a therapist. Yes, I can't fucking believe it either. So, Therapy 101. If we use person-centred therapy, which is the most basic, if I'm being snobby, I also think it's for counsellors who can't be bothered to learn that much. The core conditions of empathy, and I haven't put my fucking notepad up there. That's where my notes are. Of course. Fuck it. Of course, you can bring your emotional support dog, cat, bird, fish, reptile, unicorn, griffin, whatever it is lives inside your fucking head, all your different personalities, whatever it is, all the shit you fucking spout on TikTok that claim to be real, which we all know is utter bullshit. I'll respect your... Fuck it. If I, as a client, was looking for help and I walked into a room and that fucking thing was sat on the other side of the room, honestly, bollock that, fuck it completely. What I'm trying to get to is I would probably make the point she should be paying me, not the other way round. I use they, them pronouns. Now, in my opinion, no one who is sane or not a colossal narcissist or both will use they, them pronouns because, let's put it this way, you need to have so much fucking self-importance to think I'm different to everyone else and I need special treatment. You'll never meet a welder or someone who works down the docks, unloading ships. Or, I don't know, you'll never meet anyone who works with their hands, who actually has to graft, who uses they, them pronouns. Because people who work for a living have better fucking things to worry about. And I don't think I could go back into being a therapist now because I can't take it fucking... Oh, bollocks it up anyway. I don't think I could return... Hello, someone's messaged me. Well, this is an exciting video.